This is where a fox has been eating some blackbirds in the afternoon. I decided to hunt from his spot. Well, I've already shot 2 squirrels, a fox squirrel and a gray squirrel. But our dinner table typically needs 3 of these, so I'm still out here hunting for supper tonight. Boy, you ought to see the mess these squirrels do when they get into my attic. So they are destructive critters. One of my first hunt tips that I want to share with you is what's over my shoulder. You know, people think that, crow decoys are for crows. A deer decoy is for deer, but not true. I use crow decoys frequently because it tells the rest of the animals that if crows are here, they're one of the smartest animals in the world, in the woods, that if they're here, it's okay for them to be here. I had a friend the other day telling me that in high school he made a lot of money selling raccoon fur, more than the regular places where you turn in furs. And he used a different decoy for it. He went out at night and he did a coyote yelp. And then as he drove along, he'd stop, he'd do that yelp, and he would shine out into all the trees and the grass, and he'd see these eyes with flashlights. The raccoons are afraid of coyotes, and they stayed very much concerned with him. So he'd get out and he'd shoot a couple of raccoons and get back in his car and do some more, killing them just about the amount of time it took him to sell them. But he was using a coyote yelper for raccoons. I'm today using crow decoys for squirrel. Now, a lot of people say, how do you fix squirrel? And I think I fix all wild game the same. I get some butter going in an open frying pan, and I roll the pieces, cutting the squirrel into quarters, and then I roll them into flour. So they just got this one layer of flour on them, and then I throw that into the frying pan, and that's what I do with just about everything. Medallion steaks made from that backstrap of deer. Oh my goodness. That sure helps the flavor. And a high point of a hunt camp. Today I'm using an FX Crown. This barrel, and its full name is FX Crown Continuum. And continuum is a word that refers, since FX, they're made in either Sweden or Switzerland, I think Sweden, and it means 2 barrels. And so this gun comes with this shorter barrel and then a longer barrel. But it's a beautiful gun. I've already cocked it, got a nice big magazine for 25 caliber, and as you can see, it really smoked those squirrels for tonight's dinner. But I got to get another one. Now here's a fox squirrel and a gray squirrel. There's black squirrels. We have them here, and they're smaller, they're faster. And boy, when they get in your attic, do they run across that ceiling and make all kind of noise. Then there's a real tiny one. We've got them too. I think it's called a red fox squirrel. Looks like he's halfway between a little ground squirrel and a fox squirrel. But I love hunting. I like to get out here and just think about some things. One of the things I wanted to share with you today on today's hunt was the word change. It's a 6-letter word, change. And oh, is that a difficult one. If I put some wires and connectors all over your body, much like they do in a polygraph exam, and I said I'm going to mention some words and just see what your blood pressure does with those. I could use some 4-letter words, and maybe your blood pressure would go up this much. But if I said, I want you to change, I want you to change spouses, I want you to change houses, I want you to change churches or shopping centers, I want you to change clothes, that gets that blood pressure up. We have a natural instinct to just resist change. And I've dealt with it myself. For example, most of my life I've powder hunted. And boy, you want to shoot animals right through the heart and lungs for that kill shot. You want to save the head to mount. But when it comes to air guns, you got to change. You've got to shoot the head normally because we're using less velocity. Air guns, for sake of argument, are shooting at about 1,000 feet a second, and 22 shooting about 2,000 feet a second. And some deer rifles, etc., shoot up closer to 3,000 feet a second. So with that lower velocity, because of accuracy, you want to shoot the head, and that drops the animal there, and you don't go traipsing all through the woods, through trees like these, looking for that squirrel. So it's change of using crow decoys while I'm hunting squirrels. I find that if I'm outside of the box and I'm dealing with change, I do some of my best decisions then. I hope it works for you. One of the areas that I fought change on was my initial air guns were just springers. I had a lot of fun with springers. And then switching over to break barrels. That was difficult for me, but I did it. And from break barrels, I went from break barrel springers to break barrel pistons, and then to PCP. Each one of them, it was a change for me. I had to think, I've got to get compressor tanks now, or pumps or something, to get this thing full of air. But if I did it, you can do it too. We often pick up larger ammo, and we often pick up higher velocity and more accuracy, and we can hunt for some larger critters. You know, one of the memories I have when I'm out here hunting is one Saturday I got a call from 2 of our 4 daughters. They were down in South Carolina. I was here in Southeast Michigan, and they decided they were cleaning one of their houses and I think putting up some wallpaper or something. They were in a project together, and they began to talk about me. And when a car was taken away from them, and when they were grounded, and when this happened, and when that happened, they got themselves so riled up they decided to call me. I answered the phone. I always love getting a call from beautiful daughters, and these girls said, "We've been thinking today, and we want you to know that we remember that time you did this and this time you did that." And I thought back and I said, "Actually, ladies, I don't remember those times." "Well, that's the big problem," they said. "You don't remember those times." And I said, "Now, if you can tell me what you did wrong, it'll help me remember why I did that particular punishment. What were the things you did wrong just prior to those punishments?" They couldn't remember that half. So sometimes, you know, we talk about dementia and Alzheimer's disease and forgetfulness. It's interesting to me how we remember certain things and we don't remember others. So in life, I think we'll all do better if we remember the whole story. The good news is I've got another squirrel playing in the trees above me. While I'm out here hunting and thinking, I wanted to share. He's making noise too. I'll get him. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is that deer hunting, whether it's with a bow or a rifle or an air gun, doesn't start in the fall. Bow season's usually in October and rifle season's usually in November. There's changes from state to state. You have to obey state laws. But the hunt really begins in the previous winter, at least for me. Following their tracks in snow, I like to see the pattern that the deer make from their sleeping area to their feeding area and back, often with some water. I just had a son-in-law buy some I think 80 acres to hunt in South Carolina. And one of the questions I said, well, have you located a bedding area? He just leasing for the hunting, didn't buy the land. I said, did you find the bedding area? Did you find the feeding area? Does it have a pond or a creek on it? Those are the three things that'll tell you if there's any deer there. And of course, in the winter, I like to find those trails. And I like to find any scrapes. And then I know right where to put my blind come fall. If there's no water, I've buried a children's plastic swimming pool in the ground. Put some water in it, let it just fill from rain, and that way I put some water on the land so there would be some deer come fall. But that's where real hunting is. Where are those trails? And remember, the females and their pups are on one trail. And usually the bucks are a little farther up, a little higher ground, running in parallel. They want to keep an eye on their females and their pups, but they also want to stay hidden more because they know hunters are after the bucks. They're not after those does and fawns. You want to talk about a big change in your life? Retirement's a big change. I remember the first 6 months I was retired, and I kept looking at my watch, and I would say to my wife, Dr. Paul, I said, I think I need to get into the office. I don't think they can run that place without me. I did that for 6 months. In the second 6 months, I would look at my watch and I would say, boy, I hope they don't call me today. We're busy today. We've got things we've got to do. And in the third 6-month period following retirement, I'd look at my watch and look back at people and say, what job? So don't think you can retire just like that. There's a little transition going into it. Let me also say this to you. For years I would hunt with just groups of men. Oh, we had fun. Always finding a cook, and then several of us would come up with our recipes. I usually took something called hunt camp beans. I'll have to tell you how to make hunt camp beans in one of these videos. We'd have some fun, play some cards, took over cabins, and about 7-8 years ago, I found something that was, I think, probably as much fun as that, and certainly more convenient, and that's hunting with a spouse. And when I would take Dr. Paula hunting, some of my friends would say, Russ, you were hunting this past fall or winter with your wife. How did that go? I chuckled. I said, that's pretty good. I said, it's kind of romantic because there you are for 5 days out in the wilderness and you're whispering to each other. How can whispering for a whole week be anything but romantic? And as it turns out, Dr. Paula really embraced hunting. And when we go out west these days, elk, mule deer, antelope, I typically am the guide. I've been there, I've been on all those trails, all those mountains, big horns, Rockies, and down in the south, the Smoky the Bear Mountains. I've been in them. She hasn't. And I'm enjoying being out those great outdoors. And she enjoys seeing just what it was like when I was out with the guys. That third squirrel is starting to bother me. We get to eat squirrel tonight. Well, it looks like we're going to eat well today. It usually takes 3 squirrels for a dinner for 2. And if you've learned anything today, please leave a thumbs up. If you have questions or have something to say, one of your own experiences you want to share with me, put it in that comment section. I think this was video 81. And so we continue to grow. No, I think it's 84, 85. But we continue to grow. We hope to have 100 videos out by the end of this year, both in YouTube and in Rumble. And this Friday, so we're filming this on a Tuesday, but this Friday we leave for Florida. We're going to be doing an iguana hunt. I haven't decided which one of the 25 calibers that I'm taking, but I have a feeling it might be this one right here. It's quiet, 25 caliber, get those iguanas. Now then, with that wild boar hunt that we have scheduled, might have to take that 72 Zeus. Zach Matthews will be with us from Aries, and he says that we might be happy with a 50 caliber Air Force, I think Air Force Texan. Well, we'll find out. I've also got another 50 caliber AEA Challenger that's awfully good. We'll find out when we get there. I'll take us several guns. Meanwhile, I look forward to talking with you again soon.